Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about, let's talk about, yeah. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and my very special guest is Miss Nicky Collins. Thank you for being here with me.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure.
My pleasure. Yeah. So, from Gadsden County, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
born and raised in Gadsden
raised.
County. I haven't lived there in, I don't know, maybe 20 years, but yeah, that's my hometown.
Yes. What was it like growing up in Gadsden County?
Oh, it was, it was so hearty. It was really, I would say, just that good hometown feel. Back then it was a different place to me. It's so different now. But you had grandma, you had aunties. I was surrounded by family.
So a lot of close family.
A lot of close family. And, we didn't have a whole lot, but I didn't even realize just how poor we were at the time. But, the love really, I think that's what really kind of kept us all together. It was just that family love.
Love it. And went on to college?
Actually, for me, I went right out of high school. I went to, it was Brunel back then.
Okay.
Yeah, I went because I was ready to get something really, really quick and help my mom. Because I'm telling you, the situation was really, really bad. So I'm just like, you know what? My guidance counselor, he was like, you know what? I don't like this. You really need to go to. And I was like, no, I just need to go somewhere right quick because I need to work.
Gotcha.
So I was working, going to Brunel, finished that, and just started working with the state. And I didn't go back to school until I was called into ministry.
Okay.
And then I went to Clarity Christian International, a local small Bible college here, and that's when got my degree, and then they awarded me with honorary doctorate degree in humanities because with my schedule, the stuff that I do, the prison ministry, the community involvement and things, and it was just like, it blew my mind, after that. So my life early on, I was a young mother, and so working was on my mind. Like, I gotta take care of this child. Yeah, and then
they tend to grow you up fast.
Oh my God, I grew up so fast. So I poured everything into making sure that they go to school, they go to college and everything, and get their education. I poured my life. I told them I gave my 20s to my kids. I gave my entire 20s and 30s. And so now I get to see the fruit of my labor. My son just graduated. Well, he graduated from FAMU. He's a Rattler.
Congratulations.
And then he went on to UF and graduated with his master's. And now he's living in Texas, working, just doing amazing. My daughter lives in Jacksonville. She's doing well. Had my grandson, so I am a grandma.
Yes, now you the grandma, right?
I'm the grandma now. Yes, overprotective
you
one
a young
too.
looking grandma though.
But like I said, I had my kids young. I was really, really young in my early 20s, and so got married young. So life things, and I've learned so much from just my own experiences and that's why I I live my life by helping others who were in similar situations, to help mentor, to give them a good foundation.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's what my entire life now is centered around that.
Indeed.
Yes,
And
giving
so with ministry, what was that like, going to seminary and learning all of the
Well,
things?
with that, the main thing was just knowing that you're called and surrounding yourself around people who had similar callings, because I didn't understand it at first. I fought it and I was running from it because I'm like, I wanted to do my own thing,
And what was that? What was your own thing?
whatever, just
Not that.
not that, but just doing my own thing, going my own way.
Okay.
But early on, I just was drawn to serving, and I grew up in the church, and that foundation was already laid. And I had some of my classmates tell me, "Well, we knew you were going to be in ministry from high school."
Wow.
I'm like, "What?"
Right, but you said you didn't know, huh?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know. They was like, you just always had that little thing. But just surrounding myself with other people in that area, and then I started understanding my call. And so, learning, being in a learning environment, it helped me. Like I just, because you already have that spirit inside of you. And so scriptures just started coming alive to me. And so I have celebrated 20 years in ministry in January. Yeah,
I did not know it's been that long.
It's been 20 years.
Wow,
Yes,
that's amazing.
20 years. And so everything just kind of happened to me young, So, and I've been walking in it just ever since.
Nice.
And so everything that I do, even work-wise, work-related, it's connected with people and just helping people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you are an author.
Yes.
How many books?
4.
Wow.
Yes. And my
Okay.
last one is Now Is Your Time, which it was written while I was in Ruth Project 8. I
Okay.
had that class. And it has, when I tell you, it's really going now. Like, it has really transformed some people. I get so many testimonies about that, because it is also a journal, and I have other women's stories in the book as well.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
so it helps other people
Right.
to read about, the journey that someone else has gone through. That's a testimony
For sure.
to someone else to say, you know what? I can make it through this too.
Or they may have a similar story.
Similar story. Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot.
So, and it also, I think, shines the light on that they're not alone.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And that really helps us. If I know that my sister have gone through something similar, not that I want her to, but just to know that she's made it through.
Yes.
I talk to a lot of young ladies because, from my environment, I knew there was a possibility that, I was going down the same road that I saw some of my other friends and family members go through.
Yeah.
And so, being a young mother like I was, and I see some ladies now, and I talk to them like, look, you don't have to do that. You have mentors. I'm here to show you there's greater. It makes life a little harder.
Right.
You can do it, but it makes life a little harder. So I love prevention. I love, talking, trying to get inspiration into, especially women and young women who grew up in rural areas.
Yeah.
That's my goal, because they're not exposed to a lot.
Yeah.
I had that experience. I wasn't exposed to a lot of help. Having mentors, having people to really say, you can do it.
Yeah.
They loved me. I knew that, but it was like, you know what? It's okay to be just okay.
Yeah.
But for me, that's not enough.
And
That's
when
not
you
acceptable.
say just okay, the other words that come to mind are like regular,
Yes.
mediocre,
Yes.
average,
Absolutely.
and not really
Absolutely.
fulfilling your full potential.
Absolutely.
And so what you're talking about really kind of brings to mind one of my mantras is that human beings need exposure, positive exposure, and then positive and healthy support.
Yes.
Once they've been exposed to some new experience that kind of touches their purpose,
Yes.
their inner greater work, if you will. And so, you know, specifically, I think maybe with women and maybe in some of the rural areas,
Right.
they may not feel like there are any options or many
Exactly.
options that they have.
Right.
But
That
that's
is
not
so
true.
Right. A lot of people think that, but they don't understand that there are so many resources, and you have to tap into those resources outside of your just local area, outside of your circle, your small circle. And so all of that, it taught me a lesson. And some things I look back and say, you know what, I should have did this another way, or I could have did this, but then it pushes me now to go so hard,
Gotcha.
you know, because I know that average is not okay. You know, for me, it is not. There is so much more that God has placed on the inside of each and every one of us. There's, you know, there's gifts, there's talents.
Absolutely.
You know, there's so much. We're so rich as human beings,
Yes.
you know, just from the inside, that there's no way that we can just allow it to just lie dormant.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you mentioned the Ruth Project.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
have been to the culminating program, but talk to me about what the Ruth Project is specifically and
Yes.
what inspired you to start it.
Okay. The Ruth Project, it's a community of women that is looking for more in the spiritual realm. Like it's a spiritual place for women to come together and to grow. Not that I'm doing all the teaching, but I bring in experts and people to kind of help. But it came about basically because I wanted to provide something that I did not have. There was a time in my life, especially in ministry, that I could not find, like, you know, you heard of spiritual mothers. And I was like, where's my spiritual mother? Like, you know, all of the older ladies, you know, they've gone on, or the ones that I grew up with, you know, they're in a place where, you know, they share, but they're not active. But I was looking for someone to help me in this time of ministry.
Okay.
Life in the now, as I call it.
Yes.
And so I was looking for that someone, and I was like, you know, where's that person? Who does that? Who helps women in ministry? Who helps them to know how to posture themselves if they're speaking, or, you know, to know how to handle difficult situations that they may run into in ministry, or if they wanted to write a book, you know, I was looking for that person to tell me, you know, kind of help me along.
Well, and let me pause you there just for a minute, because women ministers are a little bit a taboo still in this day and age, but some of
Absolutely.
the school of thought is that women cannot lead in the church,
Right.
or cannot have be ministers for that
Right.
matter, right?
Absolutely. And we've heard that like forever. And it wasn't until maybe around 2003, 2002, I actually met a woman who was actually in ministry, doing ministry, involved in every aspect of ministry. And I was like, wow. Like,
Exposure.
finally,
Exposure.
yes, exposure. And so, you know, she helped me along the way a lot, like to develop my gifts and talents, my hearing, just to be able to hear the Lord. Like, she really helped me in ministry, but she moved away. But it has been a struggle. It is.
Uh-huh.
But now we see people like the Dr. Judy's and the
Yes.
different people that are in the community who are really working, because ministry is not just church.
No.
I realize that it's beyond the church. And even now more than ever, that we are coming outside of the church.
Yes.
Like I'm a volunteer chaplain at one of the women's prisons. So all different things like that, that's all ministry. Like, so it's broad, and I tell
is.
people that the world is my pulpit.
Yes,
I don't need to go inside of a building to speak or to share. My life is a sermon.
Yes.
You know, when you live your life and people can see it, that's the sermon.
Yes,
That's
it
the greatest
is.
sermon you could ever preach.
Absolutely.
So, you know, the Ruth Project helped to expose other women to different aspects of ministry, because they want to know, well, what can I do?
Right.
What do I have to give? You know, there are youth that needs mentoring. You know, I have a whole mentoring program right now that I'm so grateful for.
Nice.
That's a part of ministry for me, because every day I get to spend with them, to share with them, to bring someone in to help in that development process. That's a blessing. That's a part of who I am.
It is.
And so that's where the Ruth Project came
Okay.
from. So I had to become the thing that I was looking for. God was
Yes.
saying, look, you do it. You provide
You
that
do it.
space.
Yes.
And so it has birthed out so many other initiatives, like the She's Good
Yes.
initiative, where we do our retreats, and, you know, the women in the now, you know, where we want to honor other women, because we see you. I may not talk to you every day,
Right.
but I see you working. I see what you're doing. So just to honor each other,
Indeed.
that's what it's all about.
Indeed. And I had the great pleasure of being an
Yes.
honoree of the Women in Now.
Yes.
So I thank you for
Yes.
seeing me.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, that's just great that we could honor each other in that way, or that you honored women in that way. So, Ruth Project, I know the cohort the graduation that I attended,
Yes.
there were teens that were involved, some girls. And
Yes.
so, talk a little bit about the teen aspect of that,
Yes.
because, you know, working with
That's
young ladies, teenagers in particular, you know, can be, they got a lot going on with hormones and social media, and, you know, wanting to be accepted, and comparisons and all of those sorts of things.
Yes. Well, actually, that is a very important part of the Ruth Project. And out of that one was birthed my entire youth program,
Okay.
which is now it's funded by great partners that they're out of Central Florida.
That's a blessing.
It's a blessing. I am so blessed every day.
Okay.
I mean, I'm like, thank you, God, because it's so good to be able to help, but to be funded to be able to help, you know, your reach can go a little bit further.
Absolutely.
But the girls, because I saw the women and where they were, a lot of things that stops women or causes us to become stagnant are things that happen in our youth, in our childhood.
Absolutely.
And so I see so many women who are stuck because they can't get over what happened as a teenager, or the things that they have gone through, or just the lack of exposure like we talked about earlier. And so they're just like, I never knew I could do anything, or never knew I could tap in on that level. So I said, you know what, we have to bring these girls in, because if I can just help them while they're young,
Right.
that will help, you know, them out when they, you know, become adults. They can, you know, better handle situations and circumstances.
Absolutely.
So that's where that came from. So they are a very intricate part of it. And so I'm going through some changes with the Ruth Project. Like, we're actually revamping some things because I believe that, you know, after doing it for 8 and a half years, that, you know, God is speaking. Okay, there's some things that you can change. There's some development things. You got to grow. You have to expand. So that's where we are right now. But we still keep in touch. Like we have our Facebook groups. We have our times when we come on Zooms. Also with our retreats. It's open to all of them. And so most of the ladies that come to our retreats are Ruth Project participants.
Nice.
So, yes.
That's great that you still keep that connection.
Yes, the connection is still there.
Wonderful,
yes.
wonderful. So who are some of the women you admire?
You.
Oh,
I admire you.
that's so sweet. Thank you.
Look, I'm
And
talking about
you?
locally. We have some powerful women here. Christique is another one. Like she does amazing work in the community. You know, Judge Garner she's over in Gaston County. Yes, she's someone who I have known for years. Who has really blessed the community, and she goes hard for our youth.
She's a fighter.
She's a fighter. Yeah. So those are local ladies, you know, but there are many, but just to name a few.
Okay, wonderful. Now, what are some of the ways that you would like to see women come together in the community?
Oh, wow. I would like to see more small groups. You know, dinner meetups or brunch meetups. And I know that we're all busy, got schedules like crazy. But I think that we should set aside some time to do that, to really come together, meet up, to share. You know, even share resources, because sometimes I think we struggle hard to try to make things happen, but our sister is holding the key to what we need.
Right.
You know,
we have no idea.
We have no idea.
Indeed. Now, what are some of the things that you do to de-stress after a hectic day?
Wow. Cooking.
Really?
I love to cook.
Okay.
Like I'm like my mom, like she cooked for the whole family. I'm the only one of her girls, there's 3 of us, that received the gift. Okay. So everyone comes to my house. But cooking is a de-stressor for me.
Gotcha.
You know, it's a time where I can just pour everything into, you know, and I love to feed my family.
Okay.
Now it's down to just my husband and I, because we're empty nesters right now.
Right.
But that is something that I love to do. I like to try new recipes and things like that.
What's your favorite dish to cook, if you have one?
Ooh, well, I make the bomb macaroni and cheese.
Oh, excuse me. Listen.
Yeah, I can brag on my mac and cheese.
I think we might need to put that to the test.
Yes. Mac and cheese. I also like to do Italian dishes.
Okay.
Yeah, just any type Italian, like baked. Spaghetti and stuffed shells, things like that.
Nice,
you know, that's probably why, you know, it's showing up now.
It is
Used to that show,
you fine. What you talking about?
But I love to eat. Like I love to try new things, like new dishes and things like that. Cool. Also, my honey glazed salmon is another one that, like, it is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honey glazed salmon. I like that too.
Yes.
With the mac and cheese.
Oh, yes. And with
like
some kale on the side.
That sounds like a meal.
Yes. It is. But nice. I like to cook. And then sometimes I get away and I just want to spend time with my grandson.
Oh, nice.
You know, what we have, because my husband and I have a blended family. So all together we do have 5 grandkids.
Okay.
He brought the 4 and I have the one. So we're all together. Like they're all just my babies. Yes. So I love when family is around. Like I love when everybody comes to the house and just, you know, chill. So yeah. Okay. But me time is good as well. Like I do like my me time.
You do.
Where I just get in my own little space,
Okay.
and my husband know that. And whether I'm watching my favorite movie, reading, my favorite book or something, the Bible, anything, just getting in that place where I can just breathe.
Yes, yes. Now, Tallahassee is celebrating the bicentennial, which is tremendous. There's a lot of history here.
Yes.
Now, what do you think makes Tallahassee a unique and special place to live, work, and play?
I think the connections with the people that are here in the community. It's also a place where that I have raised my kids most of their years right here in Tallahassee. It's not like some of the bigger cities where you just get swallowed up, but people notice you. Like, I can be in the grocery store and somebody say, "Hey, Nicky Collins." I'm like, "Hi,
I don't know
who
you,
are
but
you?" I'm like, "What's your name?" "I know your face," But a lot of people, I know faces, but it's like remembering the
Keeping up with the
names.
names,
Yeah, but it's like that though.
Yeah,
It's like people. It's like you don't really meet too many strangers. Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, and then my final question is, what do you believe is your greater work, which would kind of be the equivalent of your superpower?
I would say my ability to envision, like bring visions to pass. Because a lot of people, they'll come to me and say, I thought about this and that. And I just help put it together, help put it together in execution. I like to execute things and put it together and watch it come to pass, watch it unfold. It's kind of like a production person where, just kind of help produce something. But I'm all about helping. That's my heart is to be of help and of service, and I can't do it all, but the places where I am called to, that I put my 100%, all into it.
Indeed. And you absolutely do. I have witnessed it myself. So thank you for all that you do. Please continue doing the great and wonderful things in the community.
Yes.
And thank you for spending time with me today.
Thank you. This has been awesome. And I pray that you continue to just grow and expand, and that God do great things in your life continually.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you all for tuning in to Conversations with Nicole, where we are connecting the community through conversations.
Manly Manor, an executive suite nestled in Tallahassee's J. Gaither Park, offers a 4-bedroom house with a chef's kitchen and luxurious amenities. It's close to FAMU, FSU, the airport, and the historic J. Gaither Golf Course. Your home, away from home. Book today at manlymanor.com.